ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Good morning. Welcome you all to the final day of the FTP. I am Samprati Tupat from ENC Department V2 CPGS Kalburgi. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce today's resource person Dr. Suresh Halali sir. Sir pursued his PhD in ENC from JNTUA Anantpuram AP. Sir is currently working in MS Bidway Engineering College Latur Maharashtra. Sir served the MS Engineering College in various forms like in charge principal, head of electronics engineering and as a dean. Sir was a member of faculty of engineering and technology and a member of research review committee and a member of board of examinations in SR at Marathwada University Nanded. Sir is a lifetime member of ISTE and Institute of Engineers. Sir got an appreciation for efficiently completing central assessment work as a consortium of November-December 2005 examinations conducted by SRT Marathwada University Nanded. He adjudged third in order of merit for national level students design competition organized by Vishweshwara Industrial and Technological Museum Bangalore in 1998. Sir published a book Basic Electronics. Sir also published 14 international papers, one national conference and one in international conference. We are grateful to have you here, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and welcome you once again. Sir, hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Is it audible?
Am I audible?
Sir, you can proceed, sir.
You can proceed, sir.
Okay. Am I audible? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. It's audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, all of you. So, I welcome you all to today's session on research issues in wireless sensor network. Before we go into the details of issues related with wireless sensor network, we will undergo the certain basic fundamentals which are very much essential for us. Just a minute, it is handled. Okay. So I'm going to cover a brief of introduction of the sensor network, then the sensor node, applications, classification, topology, advantage, disadvantage, and certain limitations, characteristic, and support. Then we are going to deal with the fundamental aspect of research, that is architecture, design issues, performance and challenges, motivation for the development of wireless sensor network, enabling technologies and current research issues of WSN, certain protocol stacks in WSN and the challenges for protocol stacks. Then routing challenges in wireless sensor network, programming approaches and challenges in WSN, research areas in WSN, and recent advancement in WSN. So this is what I'm going to cover in today's session. So basically, we talk about the wireless network. When we say wireless networks are categorized in two different categories broadly. One is infrastructure-based network, other one is infrastructure-less-based network. Infrastructure-based networks, normally what we call it as a cellular wireless network, are wireless nodes with network backbone. Means every node has to communicate another node through an access point. Whereas an infrastructure-less network is not having any framework, nor has an infrastructure. The nodes within this particular network are distinct and are independent, and they can have their own topology on the applications. All the nodes in infrastructure-less network are low-powered operated and task-oriented, that is application-oriented. These infrastructure network can be again categorized into two categories. One is an ad hoc network, other one is a wireless sensor network. So in ad hoc network, every individual node has direct link with another node to have a communication. And they can change their topology as and when they require. So this is what you are observing. Every node can have a communication with another node, which is within the vicinity of its communication link. Whereas in cellular, that is infrastructure network, every node has to communicate with the base station, that is an access point. So now coming to the basic difference between a wireless ad hoc network and a wireless sensor network. Wireless ad hoc network is nothing but mobile nodes communicate directly with each other without the aid of access points. There is no fixed infrastructure by making an on-support dynamic wireless link and which changes continuously. Some of examples of wireless ad hoc networks are wireless mesh networks, wireless ad hoc networks, whether it's mobile ad hoc networks, then vehicular ad hoc networks. Whereas wireless sensor networks are self-configured and again are infrastructureless wireless networks and are used specially to monitor physical or environmental conditions such as temperature, sound, vibration, pressure, motion, or pollutions, and to cooperatively pass their data through the network to a main location or a sink. That is, collect the information from different sources and make it available at a destination, that is sink. So that is basically a wireless network, and wireless networks to certain extent also operate in an ad hoc mode. The media used in both cases, if you look at wireless ad hoc networks, they are using radio waves, where you can use radio waves, infrared, or optical communication. This is application in network, means the wireless ad hoc networks are designed to operate with any particular application as and when required, whereas this is application dependent network, means the sensors in the sensor network are deployed in such a way that they will be deployed according to the requirement of the application for which it is designed. This is hop-to-hop routing, that is peer-to-peer communication is taking place here. So every node can have a communication with another node, whereas this is data-centric routing or location-based routing. Here, routing takes place depending on the requirement of the data. These are heterogeneous network, whereas these are homogeneous as well as heterogeneous network. Homogeneous here means all the nodes which are within the network have the same characteristic and field, whereas heterogeneous means the network having different nodes having different characteristics. So wireless networks are suitable both for homogeneous as well as heterogeneous type of network. Other networks point to communication. Here, sensor network, many node to few node, one can have a communication many nodes, one node to many nodes as well as one node to few nodes. Whereas node to many nodes, whereas it is a point-to-point communication. In this, wireless router is used as an interconnecting device, whereas application gateway is used as an interface connecting device. This provides high data rate, whereas WSN provides low data rate. Ad hoc networks support common services. This WSN supports specific applications. Ad hoc network traffic triggering depends on application needs, whereas here it is depending on the sensing events. The main difference between these two networks is that in ad hoc network, the access to the nodes or addressing of the nodes is being done by an IP address, which is dynamic in nature and may keep on changing. Whereas here in WSN, the access to the nodes is addressed through the MAC addressing or a special. The applications of ad hoc networks are normally for data mining, military, commercial sectors, PAN, or personal area network or Bluetooth. Here applications are environmental monitoring, healthcare, positioning and monitoring, and in today's days, it can also be used in IoT, that is Internet of Things. So some of the important parameters to look at both the networks, we are going to bifurcate, or we are going to understand the difference based on certain parameters. If we took the parameter number of sensor nodes, in WSN we have very large number of, means more number of nodes are deployed in a WSN, whereas medium number of nodes are deployed in a WSN. The nodes deployed in a wireless sensor network are of very small size, occupying very low power. The memory capacity of this is also very small, and the number of nodes will be in terms of hundreds to thousands. Whereas here the number of nodes in ad hoc network will be limited. Deployment, this is densely deployed, this is scatteredly deployed. That is, the nodes are deployed here with high density. Failure rate is more in case of WSN as compared to ad hoc networks. The failure rate in WSN is mostly because of the deficiency of the power, as the mobile sensor nodes are of smaller size and the energy handling capacity of them is less. So they are prone to fail more often. Topology changes very frequently in wireless sensor network depending on the variations in the applications. Whereas here in ad hoc network, the topology is very rare. Normally, the topology used in ad hoc network is mesh topology. Communication paradigm, it's a broadcast communication, it's a point-to-point communication. This is again a basic difference between these two networks. That is, here the nodes can have communication from one node to another node, or it can have communication from one node to multi nodes and that way. Whereas here it is only point-to-point communication. It's the information is made to flow from the source to the destination by using a multi-hop technique in point-to-point communications. Battery in case of WSN is not replaceable, not reachable, because the wireless sensor network are very small in size and they are deployed in such a location where access to these nodes is very difficult. And as well, in wireless sensor network, the sensor nodes are continuously changing the positions. So here we can, because of the larger size, we can replace the batteries of, as well as we can recharge the batteries of the nodes in an ad hoc network. The identifier used for identification of a particular node in case of WSN, there is no unique identifier, whereas here there is a unique identifier, that is IP. Centric, that is, this is basically operating as a data centric, and whereas this is address centric. Means here, depending on the address, it is going to have an access to different node. In this case, depending on the type of data, it has to be delivered to the source according to have access. So here they use energy efficient routing techniques to have or transfer the data from the source to the destination. Fusion or aggregation is possible in this case. Here it is not possible. So here aggregation means collection of same information from multiple sources and then aggregating them to get the best of it. So whereas because here there is a communication from multiple sensor node to a single node where it is aggregated, it is possible. Whereas here it's a point-to-point communication. So there is no question of any node receiving information. This has a limited memory and it is an unlimited memory we are going to use here. So here the limited memory we use, and normally flash memories are preferably used here because of their smaller size and longer life. Data rate, it is having a low data rate transmission because of low amount of energy appearing across each and every node. And whereas here, as well as the bandwidth of the network is very less. Here, the data rate is quite high. Redundancy in this case is very high, whereas the redundancy in this case is very low. So these are the basic fundamental difference when you look into the difference between a wireless sensor network and an ad hoc network. Now coming to the wireless sensor network. So this is the basic fundamental architecture of a wireless sensor network. When we talk about any architecture is nothing but it's a collection of few informations and certain protocols, hardware components combined together with software. So software is normally used to bridge a gap between the hardware compatibilities with respect to the whole system. So here, if we just look at, this is the area of wireless sensor network where different nodes are deployed. These are the different nodes, and these nodes are arranged in a form of a cluster. This is one cluster, this is another cluster, and every cluster has an access point called as a cluster node. The communication here takes place from different nodes with respect to the access point, that is the cluster node. The cluster node receives the same information which has been sensed by these various nodes, collected together here. It is aggregated, and then this data is transmitted towards the sink. Sink is the destiny where the final information which has been collected from these sensors is being located. Every sensor node here is nothing but consisting of a sensor and a moot. Moot is nothing but a processing unit within the sensor node. So every sensor node has an access to another node. It can have a communication, because the moot, we are going to anyhow see the details of the sensor node, will help you to have a communication among the sensor nodes, as well as it can have a communication with the cluster node. This cluster node, which collects the information from different sources, has a higher capacity of transmission as well as has a higher capacity of processing. wherein it can aggregate the data which has been received and link to the sink. So sink is again active or a mobile node, you can say rather, which can move anywhere in this particular network and is having a higher capacity, which receives the information signal from the cluster node, processes this depending upon the application, and then transmit to the access point, that is the base station. So this is how we may have multiple sinks. Every sink collects the information from multiple sensors. Probably they may say this, if this is one cluster, this may receive a different sensing information, this another cluster may receive different information, or they may collect the same information in this particular environment of wireless sensor network. Altogether, it is linked to the base station. So this is the overall structure. Now within this, again, if you just look at, these are the things which we are noticing here, that is sensor node, relay node, sink or actor node, cluster node, gateway node, and the base station. And you will see that. So further, if one has to communicate this information to the external world, say for example, this is a remote user who is interested to receive this data, then you can have a connectivity through the internet or through the satellite communication by using a connectivity called as a gateway. So this gateway is acting as an interlink router to link the information of WSN network from base station to the end user application. So here, the basic node, sensor node, which we are talking about is nothing but called as a mode. So this mode operates at a frequency of 4 to 8 megahertz, having 4 kilobytes of RAM, 120 kilobytes of flash memory, and 916 megahertz as a radio frequency. So we have again in sensor nodes, these sensor nodes can receive or collect the data, they can process the data, and then they can communicate the data. In order to have a reliable communication between the sensor node and the final destiny user, that is the sink, we need to have multiple in-between nodes which can carry the information collected by the sensor node at the base, that is at the source. Because the sensor nodes have limited range of communication, we need to deploy some relay nodes in between. By using hop-to-hop communication, the information from a source node, sensor node has to be communicated to a relay, multiple relay nodes, and then it has to be delivered to the sink node. So relay nodes are normally used for the reliability of the data such that it reaches the final destiny as it has been received at the source. So these relay nodes are again similar to your sensor node, except that it doesn't have any processing unit in that. It simply receives the signal using a transfer signal. It can communicate to the next node. A sink node is a node where the cluster information from the cluster head is being collected, which is also called as the actor node, and are movable within the network and also called as the mobile or active nodes. Cluster nodes basically have a higher bandwidth as compared to the sensor node. That is, these are the cluster nodes. They will be operating again with 4 to 8 megahertz with higher RAM, that is 512 RAM, than 4 MB flash memory, 2.4 gigahertz, that is ISM band will be used for communication here. Gateway is a larger router or a node, you can say rather, which is operating at 16 megahertz, 512 KB RAM, 32 MB flash memory, and 2.4 gigahertz radio frequency, and is used for interlinking the wireless sensor network with the external world. Base station is nothing but the final access point within a given wireless sensor network. So this is all about the overview of this wireless sensor network. Coming to WSN organization, that is, as we know that in any network, network is organized in a structured layer. In a similar way here also, this is being configured in 5-layered architecture. That is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and application layer. So as usual, what we normally see in TCP/IP protocols and all, that is 5-layer architectures. Here also, physical layer, it is responsible for frequency selection, modulation, and data encryption. Data link layer, here we use the functions as a pathway for multiplexing of data streams, data frame detection, medium access control, and error control. Network layer, it is used to route the data supplied by the transport layer using special multi-hop wireless routing protocols between sensor nodes and the sync node. Transport layer, it is used for end-to-end link maintenance, that is maintenance of the flow of data if the application layer requires it. And finally, the application layer, it makes the hardware and software of the lower layer transparent to the end user. So this is WSN organization. Now we'll see the details of sensor node. So here, this is a wireless sensor node architecture. We normally call the sensor node as also a combination of a sensor and a mode. So in this, you're observing that this is the complete architecture of wireless sensor node, which consists of a sensor. That the rest of the part, what you are observing, that is microcontroller unit, there is a processor unit, a transceiver, and an antenna system. This is nothing but the mode. The data which is being collected by the sensor from the environment is converted into digital form using a 2D converter and transmitted to the controller unit. Within the controller unit, the data is processed. It may be aggregated, and then it can be transmitting into the next node or any other destiny. So this is the overall architecture of a wireless sensor node, which consists of a sensor, and the remaining part, which is processing the data, is nothing but called as a mode. We have different types of sensors available. We have thermal sensors. We have thousands of such sensors available. Few among them, which are most important and commonly used, have been listed out here. We have thermal sensors. We have mechanical sensors. We have electromagnetic sensors. We have motion sensors. We have car sensor, and so forth. So all the sensors which receive the data from the environment will convert them into electrical signals, are nothing but the sensors which you are going to use in your sensor network. Now we're going to see the characteristic features of a sensor network. These are the few characteristics of a sensor node. The sensor nodes should be energy efficient because the sensor nodes are of smaller in size. The power handling capacity is very less. So the routing protocols or the communication protocols which you are going to use should be designed in such a way that the energy utilized while communication is as minimum as possible, because maximum energy is consumed during the communication process. So we should see such that they are energy efficient. Secondly, because we are deploying large number of sensor nodes, that is hundreds to thousands sensor nodes, we need to see such that the cost of the system has to be reduced, which is possible if we reduce the cost of the sensor node, because major part of your wireless sensor network is occupied by the sensor nodes. The sensor nodes which we are going to design should be distributed sensing. That is, it should have a capacity to collect the data and store the data so that it can be easily distributed to the next stage. So we need to have memory, sufficient amount of memory in order to store the data. The sensor node should have a capacity of transmitting and reception. So it should be a wireless in nature, maybe the media of communication, maybe a radio media, or it may be optical media or infrared media, whatever it is. Sensor node should have a capacity for multi-hopping. That is, it should be able to receive and then retransmit it to the next one. The processing should be distributed processing. That is, every sensor should node have a sensor and a mode, such that it can collect the data, process the data, aggregate the data, and transform it into an information form for the destination. So it should have a distributed processing. The sensor node should have a application-oriented sensing capacity. Depending on what application we are going to use, accordingly the sensor node has to be designed. The size of the sensor node should be very small, so that the size of the whole wireless sensor network can be reduced. And the topology which the nodes within the wireless sensor network to be used, maybe a star, maybe a peer-to-peer communication, or a mesh, or a hybrid combination, or a tree combination. Whatever it is, it depends upon the type of application we are going to use. So as I find, depending on the situation, depending on the environment, depending upon the application, the wireless sensor network should have a capability such a way that it can dynamically change its topology. Whenever it wants to have a communication from one node to another node, only, it should be able to do that. Whenever it wants to have a broadcast communication in a mesh type of topology, it should be able to switch over to that type of topology. That type of sensor nodes are to be deployed in order to have a dynamic network topology depending on the environment and applications. The main constraint of a sensor nodes are basically there are three constraints. That is one is cost, size, and the topology. With these three things have to be taken care of while designing a wireless sensor node. Coming to the application areas, I will just briefly cover this part because everyone is much aware of these things. So wireless sensor networks are normally used for transportation and logistic, industrial applications, precision agriculture and animal tracking, environmental monitoring, urban terrain tracking and civil structure monitoring, entertainment, security and surveillance, healthcare like health monitoring and medical diagnostics, smart grids and energy control systems, smart buildings, example, indoor climate control, etc. So these are few applications which have been listed out. And more recently, the application which we are practically being used in AI, artificial intelligence, for the wireless sensor network is nothing but IoT. So Internet of Things, we can use a wireless sensor network for having an IoT. Here one image which has been shown, wherein we have different sensors which are deployed across the body of a particular human being for measurement of different parameters. Like this is used for ECG, this is used for oxygen monitoring, this is for body area network and motion sensors. Then these all informations which we normally collect from the sensors are to be communicated to our destination. So destination is nothing but a personal server wherein it collects the information, process the information, and then gives the required results. And parallelly, it can monitor these things, and as well as it can make information to be available to the individual such that he can make the necessary corrections in the data which has been received here. So the standard which is being used for such type of communication normally will be the ZigBee. So wherein ZigBee is a mesh type of communication network which is used for larger area comparatively with respect to the Bluetooth. So that is more preferred in wireless sensor network for such type of applications. So further, this can be communicated to through the cloud internet network to any of the destiny end. Like this personal server may be connected to a medical server through the internet and the cloud, and we can have the monitoring of this particular information which has been traced out over here. So in this way, we can use a wireless sensor network in today's era for artificial intelligence in IoT. Classification and types of wireless sensor networks. So here, broadly, we classify the wireless sensor network architecture into two categories called as a flat architecture and hierarchical architecture. So here in flat architecture, if you just look at, one is first one is a single hop network. In this, there is a one-to-one communication. Every node within the cluster is made to communicate directly with the sink. So it's a point-to-point communication which is taking place, and it's a flat because every node is being directly linked with the sink flatly. So again, second thing is it is a single hop, as this is the source node and this is the destiny node. That is a one-to-one point-to-point link between these two. Second, here on this side, if you just observe, this is a multi-hop network wherein if this sensor node wants to communicate to the sink, it has to process through multiple nodes and then it has to reach the sink node. So it's a multi-hop network. And this is again a flat type of network because every node is communicated with the sink directly without any intermediate other type of node. All these nodes are of a similar type. All of them are sensor nodes. So such type of communication, we call it as a flat architecture. This is the hierarchical architecture. Before the data is transferred from the sensor node to the sink node, it has been passed through a certain different nodes. Just if you look at here, these are the different clusters. The whole network is divided to 3 independent clusters. Each cluster has multiple nodes. Here we have these 3 nodes are sensor nodes, and this is a cluster. That is cluster head. Such thing is established in this cluster as well as in this cluster. So when a node wants to have a communication from any sensor to a sink, either it has to pass the data from this sensor node to the cluster node and then to the sink. Or if the distance of communication is larger, it has to move from one cluster head to another cluster head before it reaches the sink. So in such technique, the hopping which is being taking place is in hierarchy. So this is on a second hierarchy and this is on the top hierarchy from which receives the signal direct from this node through this particular path. So same thing can be bifurcated into multi-path, the multi-hop clustering wherein. So when we say single hop and multi-hop, when I have a communication of information from a sensor node to another node of different type, then it is a single hop. If the communication is taking place between the nodes of similar types, if you just look at this network, this node is communicating with this node, both are of same time, they are sensor node. Then the data is communicated to the cluster node and then to the sink node. So here in this network, as the data is transferred from this node to this node which are of similar type, we call it as a multi-hopping. Whereas here, this node, which is a sensor, is communicating to another node which is of different type, that is a cluster node. So it's a single hop. So here we can use single hop as well as multi-hop with hierarchy. That is, the data from source node is first transferred to another type of node, that is a cluster node, and then to the sink node. Whereas here, the data is transferred from the sensor node directly to the sink. There is no in between different type of other nodes. So we classify the architecture of wireless sensor network into these two categories. Coming to the types of wireless sensor network, we can categorize the types depending on the environment as well as depending on the structure. So depending on the deployment of the whole wireless sensor network in a particular environment, like the environmental may be terrestrial, maybe underground, maybe under, maybe multimedia environment, or maybe a mobile environment. So here in terrestrial wireless sensor network, the nodes are deployed, or the wireless sensor network is deployed on the territory, and the nodes which are being used here will have longer life and have efficient communication as compared to the other type of network, wireless sensor network, which have been listed out here. Underground wireless sensor network, if you want to have certain informations to be collected from the underground, then the nodes which are going to sense the data are being embedded inside the ground, and the data which is being collected from the underground is linked to a sensor sink node which is located on the ground. The drawback of this type, the difficulty in this type of network is that as the sensor nodes are deployed within the underground, distortion of the signal is larger because of the path loss within the underground structure, as well as the life of the nodes is failure rate of the node is very large in this case. Similarly, we have underwater wireless sensor network wherein we have vehicles which carry the sensors within the underwater, and the sensors will be collecting the information of the environment within the water. Sink nodes present in the vehicle or on the ground may collect the information, and then the nodes can be used for communicating the source of information from groundwater to the territory. So here again, because the sensor nodes are deployed within the water, the lifetime of the sensor is quite less, as well as the signal traveling through the water may be more detailed as compared to the terrestrial networks. The multimedia wireless sensor networks, whenever you want to have communication informations like audio, video, or combination of both, that is a multimedia information, we can deploy certain sensors having low cost cameras and microphones on a sensor, and we can have an access to the multimedia information and then communicate it. The major drawback of multimedia wireless sensor network is that because the data here is quite large, the audio data as well as the video data, we need to have large storage capacity. We need to have higher speed processing power capacity of the wireless sensor network. The power consumption of that has to be very low so that the life of the sensor node has to be increased. So there are so many challenges in multimedia wireless sensor network as on date, which can be attended. Then mobile wireless sensor node network, it's an extension of wireless sensor network nodes to the mobile ad hoc networks. Basically, wireless sensor type of ad hoc network itself. And if the nodes which are within the wireless sensor network have the ability to move in and out of the sensor network, then we call that the mobile wireless sensor network. So here, the mobile sensor nodes which send out of the wireless sensor network should be able to adapt to the network topology immediately as the scale of the wireless sensor network node increases or it decreases, as well as the wireless sensor network node which are entering the sensor network should be able to have an access to other node in a heterogeneous environment, because every sensor node within that environment may have different characteristics. So that network which has a capability to have a communication nodes which are heterogeneous in nature and nodes move in and out, we call them as mobile wireless sensor nodes. Depending on the structure, they can also be categorized as unstructured and structured. Normally, unstructured wireless sensor nodes, the nodes are deployed one by one, or they are deployed at a time altogether. Under that conditions, the sensors which are being deployed will be densely located. And when they are densely located, their deployment is in ad hoc mode. Neither the sensor knows the location where it has been located at, and nor the number of sensor nodes which are available in a densely populated sensor network node don't know the density of the existence of the node. Normally, when we deploy a sensor node in a WSN, the deployments depend on the type of application, area of application. So there are different parameters which are to be taken care before deployment. But if we deploy unstructuredly, then it is very difficult for maintenance of the network, and as well as it is very difficult for routing the nodes within the network. Whereas another type, which is a structured wireless network, so here, depending upon the application, few and scarcely distributed nodes located at a fixed location as per the requirement of the application. This is a pre-planned deployment, and because it's a pre-planned deployment, routing is very easy, and maintenance of the network nodes as well as the network is quite simple. So the topology wireless sensor network, we have categorized here the topologies into two different categories. That is physical or actual topology, and the other one is a logical topology. Depending on the physical topology, it can be categorized into four different categories. That is peer-to-peer network, then star network, tree network, and mesh network. So here in this, the green ones are nothing but the gateways. The black ones, what you are noticing is a router node, whereas blue one are the end nodes, that is the sensor nodes. In peer-to-peer network communication, which normally happens in case of ad hoc networks, same can be made possible here in case of the wireless sensor network. It's a point-to-point communication, and we can have communication between one node to another node independently within the vicinity of a particular communication area. Star network, wherein a single node communicates with multiple nodes point to point. So normally the gateway, and these are the sensor nodes, whenever the information has to be communicated from the sensor node, that is a source node, to the destiny node, that is a gateway node, in that condition, we can have a direct point-to-point communication from the sensor node directly to the gateway. So this is a star type of communication where multi-information signal from multiple nodes is linked to a single node, that is gateway. This is a tree structure which is hierarchical in nature, wherein we have different stages. So whenever a sensor node wants to communicate to a final destiny node, that is a gateway, it has to move from one hierarchy to the next hierarchy and so forth in a form of a tree structure. And within a tree, the structure of the network may be a star or maybe a mesh. So this is a mesh type of network where every node is connected with every other node existing within the wireless sensor network and within the limitations of the radio communication range. So here, this type of communication network normally happens again in ad hoc networks, where every node can have a direct link, dynamic link to another node. So this happens normally in mobile ad hoc networks. So whenever one wants to communicate between the two nodes, a dynamic link can be established and the communication can take place between these two nodes. Similar to this, we can categorize the wireless sensor network topologies into logical topologies as well. They can be ad hoc in nature, means they can exist, the connectivity of the nodes may be ad hoc. There is no infrastructure, there is no common access point in order to have a communication between the two nodes. Every node can have a communication to another node directly. So that is ad hoc logical topology, you can say. Other type is in strategy based on the network available resource. Like strategies, what we have seen in wireless sensor network, where we can have clustering, then we have phenomenon tracking. Phenomenon tracking is nothing but tracking the data from source to the destiny and making the different type of nodes to be available in that particular wireless sensor network, depending upon the data we are going to collect. Say, pheromone basically means a chemical which comes out from an insect, and the remaining insects follow with the smell of that chemical which is coming out of an insect. And they are moving depending on the data. The chemical here is your data, and all the different other networks, by smelling that data, that is, smelling is a sensor, will be able to move to that particular network. So here, in phenomenon tracking, depending on the type of data, the nodes will be moving to a particular location for collecting that information signal. So topology may continuously kept on changing. So we can also say that they are self-organized. So depending on the situations, dynamic topology can be created. So I can have either an ad hoc nature of communication, where without the gateway or without the access point, we'll be able to have communication between the two nodes, or we can establish a network which may be ad hoc in nature or which may be a structured nature, forming a different ways by clustering or by pheromone type of technique or by self-organizing in different forms, like it may be a tree or it may be a star or it may be mesh for communication. Coming to advantages of wireless sensor network. So it avoids a lot of wiring naturally because they are wireless. So there is no question of wire connectivity. Can accommodate new devices at any time because we can deploy as many nodes as we want within the network. We can accommodate the new devices. Flexible to go through the physical partitions. We can divide the network into cluster form so that we can partition the wireless sensor network, and it is very flexible over here. It can be accessed through centralized monitor. That is, we can have an access to a wireless sensor network nodes as well as wireless sensor network through a centralized monitor, and it is an infrastructure. That is, communication between node to node can take place without any access point in between. There are certain drawbacks, disadvantages of wireless sensor network. So here it's easy for hackers to hack a network. So because the sensor network nodes are not that secure, it becomes very easy for the hackers to hack the data. Secondly, comparatively low speed of communication. So again, the database storage is very less, the speed of processing is also very less, and hence the low speed of communication takes place here as compared to ad hoc networks. Gets distracted by various elements because the sensor nodes are deployed in an environment where certain environmental information has to be sensed. So it becomes very difficult for deploying these sensor nodes in such an environment where there is a lot of noise, where we will not be able to replace the batteries of the sensors, nor will be able to charge the batteries of the sensors. And in such environment, they are not human attended. And because of that, the distraction of the sensor node or the lifetime of the sensor node is very less. So we get distracted by various external elements as well. Costly at large. If the size of the sensor network increases, the number of sensor nodes to be deployed will also increase. So hence, the cost of the system gets increased. Life of the node is, finally, the life of the node is very less. So these are certain drawbacks which we need to take care of in our research areas. Limitations of wireless sensor networks. No doubt there are certain drawbacks, but to what extent there are limitations which makes these drawbacks to be existing. One of the limitation of a wireless sensor network is very little storage capacity, that is a few hundred kilobytes, because it size of the sensor node has to be as small as possible. Secondly, the backup to the sensor node, the power backup to the sensor node is very less. So to increase the lifespan of the sensor node, we should see so that the power consumption is as less as possible. So we need to keep the memory capacity as well because of these reasons of a smaller size. Normally flash memory is being used. Possesses modest processing power, that is 8 megahertz to 16 megahertz at the most as a day. Because the processing unit, again, same reasons, power consumption has to be reduced, size of the processor has to be reduced. So naturally, we need to see such that the size, the processing power of the system also has to be less. Thirdly, works in short communication range, that is consumes a lot of power. If higher the communication range, greater is the power consumed. So because of low power capacity of a sensor node, the range of communication is very less. At the most, by using hopping technique as well, at the most we can have a coverage of wireless sensor network from 2 to 5 kilometers at the most with multiple hops. Requires minimal energy, that is constraint protocols. Requires minimal energy is every protocol which we are going to design should be designed in such a way that the consumption of power in routing or in maintaining the system should be as minimum as possible. Have batteries with finite lifetime. The batteries which we are going to use are neither replaceable nor rechargeable, so they can operate on solar panels. And we need to see such that the lifetime is getting reduced because we cannot recharge these batteries or we cannot replace the batteries. Passive devices provide little energy. So because we are going to use passive devices as a battery backup, most of the time in a sensor node, they provide a little energy. So these are certain limitations because of which it becomes very difficult for the wireless sensor networks to be existing for long duration of time. So we should take certain mechanism where even if a sensor nodes are being failed continuously, we should have a mechanism of deploying new sensor nodes within the network. Coming to the most important aspect of wireless sensor network, that is characteristic and quality of service support. So characteristics, these are the few characteristics which are fault tolerance. Fault tolerance in the sense, if any sensor node fails within the wireless sensor network, then also the communication should be kept on going on. That is kept going on. Source to the data, source to the destiny, the data has to be reliably transferred, even if there is a failure of the node. Means a alternative arrangement or route has to be established for transmission of the data to the destiny. Mobility of nodes. Higher the mobility of nodes within the wireless sensor network, less is the energy consumed. Because we know that maximum energy of a node is consumed due to the radio range, communication range. So if you try to reduce the communication range, we'll be able to reduce the energy consumed and hence increase the lifetime of the node and failure rate will be reduced. So this can be made possible by making the mobile to move to a location from where the data has to be accessed from time to time. So depending upon the situation, the mobiles, the nodes should be mobile from one location to another location and reduce the radio range of communication and hence the power consumed. Dynamic network topology. Depending upon the situation and application, the nodes should assemble themselves in a topology such that efficient transmission can be done. redundancy can be reduced. So that is, we can switch over from star network to mesh network or mesh network to tree network. So depending on the situation, such that the redundancy of the data, that is same data repeated many times and unnecessarily carried forward. So such type of redundancy has to be reduced. So to reduce the redundancy, to reduce the power consumed by the nodes, how we can make the structure or the topology of the network has to be changed. So that has to be done by the wireless sensor network without the human interference. Dynamically, it has to change. So that characteristic a wireless sensor network should have. Communication failures. That is, in case any of the node fails, immediately the information has to be carried to the gateway, stating that so and so node has failed, so that the routing protocols can make the path get changed and see so that shortest path is selected with less consumption of energy and the data is transferred to the destination. Heterogeneity of the nodes. So that is the nodes in more particularly mobile wireless sensor network, different types of nodes are being deployed. That is, the nodes may have different characteristics and features. Some may be operating at low power, some may be operating with low speed, some may be operating with higher speed. So they have different characteristics, different features. So under that condition, every node has to cooperate with another node. So that comes to be as a heterogeneity. So in heterogeneous environment, every node should be able to have a capacity to communicate with another node, though their characteristics and features are different. Scalability. With increase in number of nodes, that is, if you're going to deploy more number of nodes within a network, depending on the situation, then immediately the node should get adopted to the network and the communication should take place. So that is scalability. Even if the number of node fails within a network and the number of node get reduced, then also the communication link has to be established for communication of the source of information to the destination. There should not be any loss of data. Independency, there should not be any central control point for controlling the data transfer of the node. Every node should have a capacity to decide the transfer of data to another node in a particular path. Finally, the utilization of sensor. So the performance of the sensors should be improved such that less amount of energy is consumed and the sensors are utilized efficiently. So that this can be made possible by making the sensors to go into the sleep mode as and when they are not involved in any communication. So they can be switched off and on so that the efficiency, power consumption is reduced, efficiency is increased, and hence the lifetime of the sensor node is also increased. Quality of service support in wireless sensor network. There are certain parameters which need to be set at a proper level such that the quality of the whole wireless sensor network is improved. So these parameters can be used as a measurable quantities when you are going for certain research activities. So you should see such that these parameters should be maintained at a specific level, or they have to be improved when you are going to have a design of a wireless sensor network, or you are going to perform in this area. So quality of service aims at providing better networking services over current technology such as ATM, Ethernet, and other technologies. What are these parameters? Delay, jitter, and loss. These are the three very important parameters of a wireless sensor network. Delay is nothing but the amount of time consumed for a frame to move from source to the destination. So that is nothing but a delay. Jitter is nothing but the amount of time consumed by a packet within a frame or transferring from source to the destination. So that is a jitter. And finally, the loss. Loss is nothing but the loss of packets. The loss which is going to occur of the packets in that communication transmission. We should see such that even if certain data packets are lost within the communication, the reliability data is not lost. So that also has to be taken care of. So these are three parameters which play a very important role in wireless. Next, coming to reliability and scalability. These are inversely proportional to each other. So higher the scalability, that if I increase the more number of nodes, naturally overheads within the packet will increase because the addressing capacity has to be increased. The overhead will be increased. Synchronization has to be maintained with more number of nodes. Overhead increases. Higher the overheads, less will be the reliability. So we come to a conclusion that if the scalability increases, accommodation of higher number of nodes will reduce the reliability. So there should be a compromise between reliability and scalability depending upon the application we are going to use for. Next is responsiveness, which is nothing but quick adapt itself to changes in the topology. So that means all of a sudden, if environmental condition changes, or all of a sudden, if we need to go for a different applications, then there should be a quick response of change in the topology. The moment the topology changes, the different protocols which we are going to use within the network, they should be able to adapt to these changes of topology. So we should have a quick responses for that. So efficiency of the network will increase under that condition. Power efficiency. So power efficiency of every sensor node within a parallel sensor network has to be as high as possible. More particularly, the power efficiency should be high while radio communicating. So the routing protocols which we are going to use for radio communication should be designed in such a way that the efficiency of the power is as high as possible. This can be another way possibly made by reducing the duty cycle of each node. So that is one way of reducing the power consumption and increasing the efficiency. Other thing is you need to design the different protocols at the network layer such that amount of power consumed while communicating the data is as minimum as possible. Mobility. So here, reduced energy consumption with increased node lifetime and better coverage. These three things are to be taken care of. So mobility of the nodes, mobility of the wireless sensor network is practically possible if the energy consumed by the network is as minimum as possible. Increased because the energy consumed is less, naturally the node lifetime will increase, as well as we should see such that better coverage is being done. So the range of the transmission should be as high as possible. So we have to design the wireless sensor network accordingly, maintaining this particular quality of service parameter. And finally, the bandwidth, which is again another important parameter. Because of the bandwidth, if I have a limited bandwidth, there is a possibility of congestion. So which impacts normal data exchange and may also lead to packet loss. So while exchanging the data, the channels through which the data is communicated, the number of channels which are being used depends on the. So lower the bandwidth, less will be the number of channels, and more is the flooding of the data within the wireless sensor network, then there is a possibility of congestions. And because of the congestion, it may so happen that the data packets will be lost while communicating. So if you want to improve the higher number of communication channels such that more data can be transmitted in a short span of time through multiple nodes, you need to increase the bandwidth. But again, there are limitations of the bandwidth. So we should see such that congestion and data packet loss is as minimum as possible with the constraint of the bandwidth. So coming to architectural design issues, performance and challenges in wireless sensor. So here we're going to see the design issues in the architecture. What are its performances should be and what other challenges for research areas. So one by one, these again are important parameters. Coming to the first thing, that is hardware. So when we talk about the hardware, most of the hardware within the network is of wireless sensor nodes. That is a sensor node consisting of a sensor and a mode. So these should be designed in such a way that they should be power efficient. Secondly, the radio range of these nodes should be as high as possible. And the memories which are supposed to be used within this sensor node should be a flash memory. So because of the various advantages of flash memory, as its size is very small, it is again non-volatile memory, and it will be operating at a higher speed. So we need to go for a flash memories, and size of this memory is very small. And the range with minimum power has to be increased. So according to the protocols and the hardware part of that device has to be, that is transmitter and receiver within the mode have to be designed. So here, most commonly, the Berkeley modes, one which are being recently used as a mode part of sensor. Next, coming to because operating system plays a major role to have an interview between the hardware and the environment of the wireless sensor network. So we should see such that the operating system design should be responsive to real time. That is, it should be adapted to the real applications. Secondly, it should be hardware independent. The design of operating system which we are going to use, whatever with the hardware, we should be able to implement the operating system of that wireless sensor. It should be easily programmable by the end user. And the operating system which you are going to use should consume minimum power. It has to be designed in such a way that it consumes minimum power, and it should work on the priority basis. It should work on the priority basis in the sense the operating system should have the deciding capacity to decide what next to be performed depending on the requirement of the priority. One of the most popularly used operating system in the research area today is Tiny operating system, that is Tiny OS. Next is the wireless radio communication characteristics. The characteristic of radio communication in wireless sensor network should be such that they should consume low power so that long life can be improved, and we should use low duty cycle of the power supplies which we are going to use such that the power efficiency can be increased. Secondly, distributed sensing should be present. Distributed sensing in the sense the information has to be sensed at multiple points, at multiple nodes, such that the aggregation can be done and the efficiency of data has to be increased. Reliability of the data will be increased. More particularly, the reliability of the data will be increased. Multi-hop network, the radio communication should be such that to communicate the data from source to the destination, we can have the choice of multi-hop networks wherein the data should be transmitted to from source to the destiny in multiple steps. At par with this, they should be in radio communication control for flow control and error control. So this normally happens at data link layer of the WSN organization. So to see so that there is a proper flow control without any congestion or in the packet loss, as well as the errors, if any existing, should also be controlled. So we need to characterize the wireless radio communication for these parameters. Then media access schemes. The medium access scheme protocols, which are the protocols at the data link layer, should be designed in such a that they should be switching transfer on and off. Means they should have a capacity to switch off and switch off, that is sleep mode. The nodes, that is again the protocol designed for communication should see such that interference is as minimum as possible. Overhearing, so it should reduce the overhearing means receiving the same data multiple times is unnecessarily a redundancy of the data. So we need to see such that overhearing by the nodes has to be reduced. Over emitting, the data is ready to be transmitted, but the receiver is not ready to receive the data. So that is called the over emitting. So always we should see such that when data is transmitted, the receiver is ready to receive the data. So it avoids the over emitting. Control packet overhead. The overheads within the control packet should be as less as possible. Again, idle listening has to be. Adopt changes in network nodes, topology, and size. So number of nodes, the topology, and the size of the network has should be the changes in them has to be adopted immediately, and accordingly, the protocols in the medium access scheme has to be designed. High throughput and minimum latency. So the throughput should be high, and the latency, that is the time consumed, should be as low as possible. Dividing a long message into smaller fragments and transmit them in burst. So because this is a part of a data link layer, so here the frames are divided into smaller frames and then they are transmitted, so that the efficiency of communication can be increased. So we should see so that to improve the efficiency, how the protocols have to be designed in the main systems. Deployment. Deployment is nothing but placing the sensor nodes initially in a wireless sensor network as well as in the runtime. We should see that when we are deploying, there should be structured deploying. Otherwise, there is a possibility that due to the more power consumptions of the node may die. So node died due to power consumptions. Not delivering sufficient amount of information. It may so happen that the nodes are existing, but they are not properly deployed, and because of that, they are unable to deliver the sufficient amount of information from the environment. Multiple concurrent transmission attempts, that is network congestion. Repeating same informations multiple times, redundancy. So if you are deploying more number of nodes in an area where the data to be sensed is very less, naturally there is a higher redundancy, so which has to be avoided. Self-configuration for random deployment. When they are randomly deployed within the wireless sensor network, they should be configured self. Means every node should have a capacity to identify its location and then figures myself. So that we normally call it localization. Localization is nothing but determining the physical location of the nodes. That is, the algorithms which are being used for localization should be scalable, accurate, and support the mobility of nodes and range. Deploy beacons in the sense, for having proper localization, some nodes will be deployed within the wireless sensor network in such a way that those nodes will be knowing their locations. And with the reference of that node, the remaining nodes can identify their own locations. So that way we can add some deploy beacons, but adding more number of deploy beacons again unnecessarily increases the power consumption as well as the capacity. Handling capacity will be reduced of a sensor node. So we should see so that every sensor node which is being deployed within a network should have a localization technique. So, or we can have one more technique, centralized localization. We can have make every sensor node to have an access to a central location and then decide the location. But that unnecessarily creates a load on the central location. So it's better that use certain routing protocols, design the routing protocols, and see so that every node can easily identify its location based on its own routing. So this is one of the research area where you can work out to identify the localization of an individual rather than going for a centralized location, or rather than deploying more number of beacons within the wireless network. Synchronization. So I think I'm ahead of the time. Anyhow, I will finish off this and then we'll stop it. Synchronization. So synchronization is nothing but a clock synchronization. Every node within a wireless sensor network should be synchronized properly. So a common time scale for local clocks has to be maintained. So that proper navigation guidance. Does that? Hello. Please mute. Someone. Hello, someone is interfering the audio. Please switch off your mic. Synchronization very much essential to make all the sensor nodes to work in synchronization within a given environment. synchronization is more useful in case of certain applications like environment monitoring, vehicle tracking. Normally for environment monitoring and vehicle tracking, we use certain protocols like power utilization by NTP, Network Time Protocol, and Global Positioning Scheme systems. So where the position of a particular node can be identified. The same can be easily done with designing certain protocols where every node can have synchronization, irrespective of though they are of different characteristic and feature. So even though it's a heterogeneous environment, the synchronization has to be maintained. Calibration. Calibration is accommodating the raw sensor readings obtained from the sensor into corrected values by comparing it with some standard values. So what are the raw information which has been collected by the sensors is to be processed for final application. So when it is processed, it should see as that it has to be calibrated to a certain extent, and that is possible by comparing the data with the standard data. So it should have certain capacity to calibrate. Network layer issues or network layer protocols should be designed in such a that they should be power efficient, they should be multi-path design, they should have a capacity of fault tolerance, then have flexible platform for performing route discovery and management, and should be heterogeneous in nature. So all the routing protocols designed for network layer should perform with this particular capacities. Then transport layer. So again here, transport layer is nothing but end-to-end reliable communication takes care of. Here, ensure orderly transmission of the fragmented segments. That is the data which is fragmented into frames. That has to be orderly communicated. So protocols designed over here should see such that orderly transmission of data takes place. Reliable for delivering the data. The bandwidth should be as high as possible such that the reliability of the data transmission should be high. Also, the bit rate should be such that the data transmission increases, speed increases, and the loss of the packet is as minimum as possible. Failure of nodes due to battery depletion obstacles, wherein the protocols called as pump slowly fetching quickly protocols are being used in the transport layer. Next is data aggregation. So data aggregation is nothing but a process of collecting a similar data from different sensors and then aggregating it such that quality data is being extracted out of it. So for that, number of nodes in a network and the number of nodes that are actually responding should be checked out. So though it may so happen that the number of nodes may be large, but the responding number of data nodes will be less. It's difficult to find complete and up-to-date data of the neighboring sensor nodes in data aggregation. Less transmission of data to the base station to reduce the power. We should see such that redundant data is eliminated after aggregation, so that power consumed will be reduced. Eliminate redundant data transmission from the nodes, sending partially aggregated values rather than raw values. So that is multiple sensors collect the information from the environment. There may be redundancy in the data which has been collected. Instead of sending the data as it is, the raw data, we have to aggregate it before transmission and see that the redundancy is reduced and hence the power consumption is reduced. And also you need to improve the clustering techniques. The clusters within a wireless sensor network are to be developed in such a way that redundant data collected should be as minimum as possible. So we'll continue the remaining part in the next section. Thank you all. Hello. Hello.
unmuted.
Hello.
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 Hello. Tell me, sir.
Hello. madam.
Hello. Sir.
Hello. Anyway, we'll
Hello.
continue at 12 o'clock. Am I audible?
Okay. Yes, sir. It's audible.
Okay. We will continue the session at 12 o'clock. Next section.
12 o'clock. Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು